Bluebirds are one of the most recognizable of all bird species. And it's kind of interesting because we all think of bluebirds as being blue. In reality, if you were to take bluebird feathers and grind them up into particles, those particles wouldn't be blue. It's more about the way the light bounces off the feathers that gives them that blue hue. Bluebirds are members of the thrush family, so they're really related to robins. But I'll tell you what, every time I see a bluebird, I'm impressed by it. They have beautiful color, and it's just neat to have them around. Very early in the spring, a male bluebird will stake out his territory, and he'll look for a good nesting cavity in the form of a hole in a fence post, a hole in a rotten tree, or even a man-made bluebird box. And he'll try and attract the mate into that territory by doing a variety of wing flaps and gesturing that will entice her to be his mate. Once the pair is bonded, they start to build a nest together. And they'll collect straw and grasses and things like that, and they'll line the inside of the cavity with that. Bluebirds like open habitats. They love fields like this. And we've got a whole bunch of man-made boxes around here, a bunch of bluebird boxes. Let's check some of these and see if there's anything in them. Here's one of these boxes to check and see if we can find a bluebird. Wow, that was not a bluebird. That was a chickadee. Yep, and sure enough, if you look at this nesting material, you can hear chickadees just calling away in the background. Obviously irritated us for getting into its nest. And you can tell by all these mosses and lichens and things instead of straw. And sure enough, not only is it a chickadee nest, but there's a bunch of little babies in it. It looks like one egg and then several little babies. And I'm going to be real careful with these because I don't want to disrupt the nest. But let me close this back up. And we don't want to harass it too much. So let's go see if we can find a bluebird. Let's check another box. Now this one looks pretty good. There's nesting material in here, and sure enough, there are 3 eggs, bluebird eggs, and they're real pretty blue color. So females will lay 4 to 6 eggs, and it's not like they lay them all at once. I mean, they lay them, and then a couple days later, they may lay another one, and then eventually they have the full clutch. Once they have the full clutch, then they will start to incubate them. And it's going to take them probably 12 to 14 days to incubate, and then the little guys are going to hatch out. Now these young are going to fledge in about 3 weeks. But that makes sense, actually. They're pretty vulnerable in this nest to snakes and other predators. So the idea is get the babies out, and they won't all stay together. So they'll fledge, they'll kind of move out in the surrounding woods, but the work is still not over for the parents. They still have to help take care of those young. They'll collect insects and feed them, and they'll actually go to them where they're living in the surrounding forest to feed them. So a pair may have a second clutch or even a third clutch if conditions warrant it. It's really kind of cool how nature regulates itself. So if conditions aren't right, there aren't sufficient bugs or the habitat's not sufficient for them, then they won't have another clutch. One of the things we can do is we can create more of these man-made nesting boxes. I mean, boxes like this work great because there's a limited number of boxes in nature. And so bluebirds will definitely take advantage of this.